Hey ladies, welcome back to Menopause Madness. Today I'm excited to share something that's going to sound a little bit off topic, but I will tie it back in, and that is my recent discovery related to thyroid health. And actually, I would have to correct myself and say it's not so much of a recent discovery, but a recent remembering. So, a friend of mine, well, let me stop before I jump into the story time. What this video will cover is how many times the thyroid is diagnosed as problematic when it's actually an underlying biological problem or situation that's often tied to peri or menopause, um, because of the hormonal changes that are going on, and how you end up with all of these medications that are meant to help solve the problem when in actuality it's something entirely different that's needed. Okay, so starting back in with my story. A friend of mine shared a reel from Facebook with a doctor talking about, I assume he was a doctor, medical professional, talking about how in his practice he has helped people recover from Hashimoto's or hypothyroidism, um, often one and the same. And what's assumed in the medical world with endocrinologists so often is that the body is attacking itself. And I could say a whole lot on that, but that would really get off on a rabbit trail. Suffice it to say that's an inaccurate assessment. So he's explaining very quickly how when it deals with thyroid hormones, there's two primary ones, T4 and T3. And I'll keep this from getting too scientific on you. T4 is the less active one, but the one that the body makes more of. T3 is the more active one. It requires conversion from T4. So, what happens so often in a medical practice is that you go in and your thyroid is, showing that the numbers are off, usually with your thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, and they say, "Oh, well, your T3 is low. We need to fix that." So they give you levothyroxine or Armour thyroid or one of those types of things, Synthroid. Here's the interesting part, and this is not new for me, and this is why I was tackling it from other directions when I was dealing with that. Your thyroid is only responsible for 20% of the production of the T3 hormone. So when they're throwing T3 at it, it's 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 not really the thyroid that's the issue, but that's what they've decided. What's actually happening is that the liver needs more support. And one of the things that can happen when you're dealing with hormonal changes is your liver can become sluggish, and it won't show up on a blood test because their measurements are very much about, are you dying? Or are you close to dying? So the liver can start acting sluggishly because you're estrogen dominant. And although you might be asking yourself, well, how can you be estrogen dominant if your estrogen is decreasing because you're going through the change? That gets into a ratio situation. Estrogen is supposed to be in a certain ratio to progesterone. And this ties in with some free PDFs that I will tag in the description. But what else is at play is your gut microbiome is very much responsible for helping to produce your hormones and is also very much affected by an imbalance in your hormones. So there's this cyclical thing happening. And one of the things that people don't often realize is that your gut microbiome is responsible for producing much of the B vitamin family, the amount that you need for your daily dose of B vitamins. So if your gut microbiome starts to be diminished by an imbalance in hormones, um, then your B vitamin production is also influenced, and your B vitamins help with processing and producing the hormones. So it's this, are you seeing like there's this whole cyclical thing happening, right? But what it really is boiling down to is making sure that you're getting enough of those nutrients. So here's what happened after I watched this video that he's sharing about these B vitamins. Okay, not a news flash for me. I knew about the B vitamins. Um, One that stood out this time that I had learned about before in relation to your adrenal glands is B5. It's also called pantothenic acid. And it's pretty ubiquitous in a lot of different foods. So it's unlikely that according to doctors, that you're going to have a deficiency there. But again, they're not factoring in the part that the gut microbiome plays. Well, what question popped in intuitively for me after I watched this video was, what part does B5 play in the use of sunshine? In other words, knowing that sunlight actually does more than help you produce vitamin D, it helps you with these other things. I thought, well, maybe it helps with producing B5, right? And this was based on my own experience of having taken vitamin D for years and feeling like it really wasn't helping in the off season, like wintertime. What I found is that B5 actually helps to convert vitamin D into its active form. And that also vitamin D, which is technically a hormone, and that's a whole nother video, can be, if you have a deficiency of vitamin D, can influence that balance that I was talking about in the gut microbiome and shift that balance so that then your gut microbiome is struggling both with producing the vitamins that it makes and also helping to keep the hormones in balance. So you've got this whole like domino effect thing happening, right? And pretty much any doctor worth their salt will tell you that vitamin D is one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory agents in the body, and that even Western medicine is reevaluating how much we actually need, and they are now declaring an epidemic of low vitamin D. And the numbers that they use for the tests are now being evaluated as well for what is a proper amount for your vitamin D levels. And that varies depending on the circumstances of the person, because we're all biochemically unique. We're all a universe within ourselves. So keeping all of that in mind, and in my own situation, realizing, okay, so vitamin D deficiency has definitely been a part of my history. And B5 not being produced enough by a result of an imbalanced gut microbiome would certainly impact a whole lot of things, such as leaky gut, because B5 helps with skin. What's the word I want? The skin tissue quality, the barrier of the integrity. There we go. And that would relate to allowing food substances and other potential invaders to cross over that barrier that's meant to protect you, meaning in your gut, right? Like, so your tissue that covers the outside of you, your skin, is the same type of tissue that covers the inside of you, your gut. And I know I'm I'm sharing a ton of information. Let me boil this down to make it a little simpler for you. Getting B5, the family of B5 vitamins, could literally shift everything. So people who were struggling with thyroid medications not helping, and what they find over time, and this is my own personal experience, and this is where I drew a line, is they'll give you this much medicine and they'll say, oh, okay, this is helping. And then pretty soon they'll give you this much medicine, more, meaning because, oh, that's not helping anymore. And it just keeps going like that. And that's across the board. Like, I've talked to lots of people who have experienced that. When they started doing that with me, it was actually making me feel worse. And I was like, I'm just done. This is not helping. It's actually making me feel worse. And addressing the liver and addressing the gut microbiome, but really looking at the idea that vitamin D and the B complex family are going to play a huge part. And again, knowing that cortisol is a balancer of all of the hormones. And so as your levels are dropping and your cortisol is rising to meet the difference, your adrenals are struggling more, and you're going to have a harder time with things like energy, weight loss, focus, some other things that are not popping in, mental health, because your gut microbiome is getting out of balance, because the nutrients, the raw material that is needed to help your liver function and to keep your hormones happy isn't there, because of some initial situation. In my case, it was a vitamin D situation that threw everything off balance. I think there's probably more to that. Like, I'm not saying I cracked the code on all things. What I am saying is it always, always, always boils down to one of two things: your thoughts, so the mind-body connection, or your nutrients, and how the gut microbiome is supported or not supported adequately. Because honestly, they're running the show. The only thing that's running the show more than that is us, is our mind saying what we agree with or what we don't agree with. And I mean that on a very deep level, like a level of what you know that you know that you know. Like, I'm so convinced that this is true, nothing will change my mind. Or that's the thought anyway, right? So excited to share that I started B5 yesterday and started taking vitamin D as well. I would encourage you to do that in a measured way. I got overly excited and did a little too much yesterday. But what I will report is I had more energy and focus than I have in one day. So, but I also didn't sleep great. I think I got so much energy. My body's like, woohoo! Okay, so all of that to say, if you have been told that you're dealing with a sluggish thyroid, or if you feel like you've got thyroid type symptoms like hypothyroid, where you're tired, you're gaining weight unexplained, you're not able to focus, you're kind of brain foggy, please reconsider the idea of taking thyroid medications based on the fact that you're blaming the thyroid for something that's not the thyroid's fault. It didn't do anything wrong. All right, so that's it for today. I hope that ramble was sensible. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comments. If you have any suggestions on how I can potentially make these videos more helpful or clear, I'm definitely open to that. We're learning and growing together. I will, like I mentioned, put in the description a link to a PDF about the gut-brain connection, gut-brain hormone connection. Also, I have an upcoming Menopause Summit on February 25th, 2025. I'll put that link. There's a option for a free ticket, or if you can't attend live, then you can buy VIP recordings for only $97, and there's about 17 of us, covering a wide range of topics related to menopause changes. Mine will focus on mind body and the nutrition aspect. I also have an upcoming course on the 9 things I did to help heal myself with cancer. And again, it will focus a great deal on the mind body connection. Um, the short explanation of how I would describe this course is emotional wellness, the psychology of disease. We're putting it in a more trendy, uh, newer terminology, quantum biology. Because your DNA biology, we've hammered that topic and we've got it pretty much nailed down. But the quantum biology is 95% of what's happening in you, inside of you. So we're paying attention to 5%. Okay. I have enjoyed sharing this. I look forward to hearing from any of you on how you received it. Thank you. Make it a great day.